Let's redo the entrance to the show, but everyone has to say their Sex and the City character name.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, like who we are?
Who you think? I mean, we're 2 episodes in. Who do you think you are?
You're now listening to The Bradshaw Boys, a podcast where 3 relatively grown men binge the iconic HBO series Sex and the City. So dust off those DVDs and grab yourself a white wine or even a Cosmopolitan and settle in. Take it away, boys.
Welcome to the Bradshaw Boys. 3 guys watching their way through Sex and the City for the first time ever, mostly. I'm Capote Duncan.
I am Charlotte. Is she the one with the brown hair?
Gosh.
I'm Charlotte.
Oh,
we haven't
man.
learned enough about, and you are.
We haven't learned a lot about Charlotte.
I mean, I want to be big, but I'm really Skipper. Let's be honest.
I think John might have done the only honest one out of the 3 of us. I'm not Capote Duncan. I never could be.
You're the mind of Skipper, but the body of Big. Because Mr. Big, he's a
big guy.
He's a big guy, but he's also
guy.
you're a good looking guy. But you don't look like a Skipper, but you do have like a softness to your center.
Aw, that's really sweet of you to
Skipper's
say
like
that.
a Rolo. He's got a soft center.
He's got a soft center.
Chocolatey outside.
What's the opposite of a Rolo?
The opposite of Rolo would be something caramel with a chocolate center.
But I'm talking about a soft outside and a really hard.
It would be
interior.
a peach. That would be a
It's
peach.
true. It is a very a peach that you left in a paper bag for a very long time.
That's it. That was how the inventor of Rolo was eating a really mushy peach, and he was like,
We need to change this up.
Taste good. What would be better than this?
What if we flipped the script on a peach?
Is that the pitch meeting for Rolo?
Yeah. Guys, gather around.
Listen, I know we work at a fruit company. Okay, but let's flip the script on a peach.
And then he pulls out the roller, and everyone's like, "Hey, what you said was great. That's not flipping the script on a peach, but it's still great though."
If you think we're going to package these things all together, you are wrong.
But we got all this gold foil. All right, I'm in.
I'll tell you why I'm not a huge Rolo fan, and it's not because I don't think they're great. It's because my favorite candies are the ones that you can put in the freezer and are even better after the freezer. And Rolo, anything with caramel gets too.
Rolo break your dang teeth if you put it in the freezer.
Break your dang teeth.
Yep.
I got high one night and I walked past the 7-Eleven. I got a bag of Rips and I ate the whole thing, fell asleep and didn't brush my teeth that night, and woke up the next day and I was like, if I have any cavities, it came from that moment.
Has anyone ever eaten Rips and not been high? That's my question.
I was going to say, you just described like someone's like, what's it like being high? Well, you go to 7-Eleven, you buy a bag of Rips, and then you eat them, and you fall asleep.
Oh,
That's
man.
what it's like being high.
Well, how lucky would we be if this episode of Sex and the City is all about candy?
Well, I guess we should say we don't know what tonight's episode will be about.
The first one was about
having sex like a man.
Sex like a man.
Having sex like a man, right?
Second one, models and mortals.
Mm-hmm.
Models and
mortals, and it's about the guy that's a modelizer, and he dates Cynthia Nixon's character, and then
and Skipper got a little chance. Based on the recap, they said they went home together, which I guess that's what it ended with.
I think that's what you're supposed to.
You gotta assume that.
I guess
with Sex in the City, you gotta assume it's always sex in the city.
I know, but I want to hear what Skipper said, because Skipper was trying to get a bag of Kit Kats or Captain Crunch.
No, he was buying a cereal, and it had a Goosebumps thing on the back. Was it Captain Crunch?
Captain Crunch, I think. That.
Oh yeah,
speaking of ravaging
rips
your mouth
up. It does.
Yeah, I have a confession to make, guys.
Yeah.
Is it Sex in the City or Sex and the City?
And
is it
Sex and the City? It's Sex and the City.
Okay.
SATC.
Okay.
I didn't. I would just use them both interchangeably, and hopefully no one would ever notice.
I bet there's a huge
fast enough. People don't know.
Sex in the City.
There you go.
What did I say?
Sex in the City.
Did you? I think you said an ampersand.
I did them both. I think.
Yeah.
I think I said end.
I definitely.
Sex into the City.
I definitely could have gone either way. Sex in the City. I think I thought it was Sex in the City for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But it's about two things. It's about sex It's about the city.
It's also about the city. And it really is. It actually is very much about the city. When you think about it, we've been to, Carrie lives in the Upper East Side.
Mm-hmm.
That club that they went to in the first episode.
That club. Club Chaos?
Thank you.
That
Get
club.
out of here.
We're talking about chaos over here, and you're just calling it that club?
The club at Canal and West Broadway?
There we go. See, if you want to get a reaction out of people, you slight something they love.
It's so sad that Club Chaos is gone and that there's just I don't know, a Dunkin' Donuts.
We don't have things like Club Chaos anymore. Now we just sit around on our iPhones and play stupid game show games on our iPhones.
Yeah.
Do we want to actually talk about the digital elephant in the room that John just brought up?
I was just trying to slight your game,
Oh,
your
okay.
new game. See if I can get a reaction.
We'll talk about
You're a
this.
little bit more
What's it
calm than I
called?
was.
It's an app called HQ.
Yep.
And it's an app called HQ, and it's an online game. I don't know, like by the time that this episode is out, HQ might be so yesterday. There'll be an iPhone double X at that point.
It's going to be the new Family Matters.
The only thing that'll happen with that is it'll get like $50,000 prizes instead of $2,500.
It'd be great, but it's an online. It's a game show that happens on your phone on an app, and it is appointment based. So sometimes it's twice a day, and it's like 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. But everybody signs in, you answer questions, and you get like 3 to 5 seconds to answer them, and you win real money. I'm totally making a pitch for this. I'll send anyone a text so that they can use my code so I can get more lives on it. But it's so much fun, and we needed to start the episode tonight, so I forfeited the game, and I had 2 friends texting me saying, Game at
time.
9.
Game
Game
time.
time. And I didn't do it. And it's so much fun.
Instead, you sat and talked about candy with your friends.
I sat with my 2 adult friends and talked about rips.
Talked about getting ripped.
This is what I think we should do, right? What if, I don't know if this is possible, what if we try and get a hold of HQ and see if we can do a Sex and the City themed trivia sponsored.
Boom.
We can do that. We could get the host of HQ on this podcast, maybe.
Yeah.
We don't have to, but we could.
I think that'd be great. We'll try and do that, and we'll try and do like a little teamwork.
Yeah.
We'll do a little teamwork. We'll do a sex, and if not, we'll do our own sex. We'll do our own trivia.
I think people in the digital world and in the media world call that a collab. We could try to do a collab with HQ.
They do.
We're shooting pretty high right now. We're on
even
our 3rd
people
episode.
in the old regular world. Anytime 2 people work together, it's called a collab.
It's called a collab.
That's old world and new world right there. That's
What are you guys hoping comes
Columbus
out of this?
did a collab with America, but he just killed everyone and then took it over.
That's a bit one-sided.
That was
there.
kind of a one-sided collab, yeah.
What was the question, Kevin?
Well,
Kevin.
it was what are we excited about for this? I guess I'm just excited to see it.
I'm excited for sex. And the city.
You're excited for both. You always are.
I'm hoping it's filmed this time too.
You're hoping it's filmed?
Because last time the guy filmed the sex.
Oh, I thought you meant the episode.
What if instead she goes to a model's house and he's just watching street scenes from the city, and you're like, this really is sex and the city.
I do hope, I don't know if this show does this or not, but I'd love it if in a future episode they call back other things and they walk into someone's apartment. They're like, what are you watching? And it's just someone watching that guy's art. And he's just watching an artist have sex with models.
Or they go to Rikers Island and he's behind bars.
That'd be great.
Because he goes to jail because they're like
bars and someone's having sex with him, filming him. And they're like, what do you think of it now? How's
like
that now?
Like
this is going to go up on Rikers Island's website.
Oh, shoot. You're talking about RikerFights.biz?
Yeah.
Good
It
Lord.
could be one of the security guards watching him in his cell.
Oh, man. What a twist. Darren
That
Star,
would be
I hope you got this kind of
crazy.
writing chops. I hope you do.
All right,
That would
should
also
we-
be very dark.
Should we
Do you guys
cue up
wanna
the
know-
episode?
Do you want to know the name of the episode before we begin? or do we
Yeah,
want
let's
to-
would
hear
love
the
that.
name, then let's watch some sex in the city.
Okay, the name of the episode is Bay of Married Pigs.
Whoa.
Bay of Married Pigs Invasion.
BAE.
Yeah, Bay of Married Pigs.
I don't think that was a
BAE.
thing back
It
then.
was definitely not a thing.
We'll talk about that after the episode.
Here
Let's
we
go watch Bay of Married Pigs.
Woo!
Episode 3 Bay of Married Pigs. Carrie is invited to Patience and Peter's Hampton's house, but in the morning she bumps into Peter in the hall without his underwear on. Some friends introduce her to Sean, the marrying guy. But when she can't keep up with his quick march to marriage, he ditches her for commitment file Charlotte. Miranda's colleague from work introduces her to a lesbian at a baseball game, and they are invited to her senior partner's dinner party as a couple. And now, back to the boys.
We're back, everyone.
We just watched episode 3, season 1.
Bay of Married Pigs. Lots of action.
I'll come out strong and say best episode.
Best episode yet.
I would say that just because...
I want you to hold that till the end of the series.
Well...
I'd be brave.
Yeah. But they will never top this. I would say 1 was great. 2, there was like a dip and like, all right, how do we keep this conversation going?
Yeah.
This, I feel like could
2 was
be...
a Fairweather Johnson.
3, we're back with Darius Rucker's country career.
We're back with Wagon Wheel, live on stage, headlining country festivals.
It's just, this is an entire podcast for 50 episodes could be married versus single. Which is what the whole argument was. It's so, and it's we're kind of perfectly set up for it. Jon happily married.
Jon is happily married.
Very happily married.
But we went to Jon's wedding.
You were both at my wedding.
The absolute best weddings.
One of the best weddings ever.
I hope you guys would agree that the moment I became married, we became enemies instantaneously.
Oh, yeah.
Wait, us and you?
Yeah.
Also, Corey, don't say best wedding ever until you get to the end of your life and you can analyze all of them. Just like good television.
No. I'm saying it now, just like I want you to say episode 3, best of the series.
Best of the series.
Make a choice.
I'm just saying the moment I became a married man, I became enemies with
Kevin and I don't like hanging out at your parties. We don't like getting set up with your friends.
No way.
No, we're not into it. I will. Well, go ahead.
They represent the episode does a great job. The arguments that everyone has, and I hate those arguments because as a single person, I get all of them. You're the perfect person that it's like, be like Jon and Katie when you get married, because you're both great people and you don't just cut off a part of your life and then become a new person.
And I think,
but that was a goal of yours, right?
That was something that my wife and I discussed frequently before getting married, and that we actively did not want to be the typical married couple.
And one thing I will say that has been amazing is the whole time we've done this podcast, your wife has sat here in the room and not said a word.
Doesn't say a word.
She hasn't interrupted a single episode.
She just
yet.
sits there and
thank you for that.
Yeah,
John's wife.
Absolutely.
She's nodding.
She's
nodding quietly.
No, it's hard. I mean, it's hard because I think everyone has had that friend who's gotten married and who has just disappeared.
Yeah.
And that's a really, really shitty thing to do.
Yeah.
And I can't stand those people are out there. And it's frustrating because I think there have been some friendships in my life that I've seen the person less. And I'm like, it's not because I'm married, it's because work is really busy and it's because you started a new job. And but I don't want them to sit around and be like, I can't believe Jon got married. Now we never see him again. What a piece of shit. Like that. I mean, life also happens.
Life happens. And I feel like there's also some people that I've seen go off the map when they get married. And then once they are ready to hang out, then they're like, hey, no one ever calls me.
Right.
And then it's sort of like, it's sort of up to the like there's some married friends that I have that they do sort of go off because you want to be respectful. You don't want to be like, there are times your life is going to change. Your rhythms are going to change.
Of course.
But there is like a certain vibe that some people bring off that it's like, yeah, there's a reason why you go off the map, and therefore I feel less open to like reaching out for plans because I know it's going to be no all the time. So I feel like it is not only do you do that, but you just keep it's not just about hanging. It's a whole, I think, way some people do their life that is like, I'm sort of changing my entire thing. I'm doing a new thing now. And hopefully those people are happy. What always worries me is always a few years down the line, it seems like if you change your life in such a huge way, if you're not doing it for the right reasons because you want them, just because then that's where like the sad married couple comes from. It's like, I don't know, we gain 50 pounds and we have no more friends and I'm just complaining because she nags me and I can't drink with the buds.
Big Bang Theory's on.
Yeah.
It's always going to be on.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that you said. That is a sad reality of.
Did that come from a personal? I felt like I had like 12 people in mind when I said that.
So let's more specifically in the episode, the unmarried versus married kind of debacle. I think Samantha makes the argument that a married woman becomes enemies with an unmarried woman because they see them as a threat. What are your guys' thoughts on that? Is that accurate?
I don't think it's 100% accurate. Speaking as an unmarried woman, speaking as not a woman and not a married person, I think.
Then go ahead. No, I'm kidding.
Then I will raise my voice. I think it could maybe be. I mean, there's a reason Samantha's saying that, because Samantha is a kind of unmarried woman.
Mm-hmm.
Samantha, as we go throughout the episode, we'll talk about, has another sexual conquest. This being said, I'm not judging Samantha. I like Samantha. She's
classic
one of my favorite
Samantha.
characters, but it's classic Samantha. But I think that
at a party, they're going to be
for
more
her character to see her as a threat, because like she's Samantha. She's out there trying to bang dudes. She's at the party they go to. She has had sex with multiple people at that party, and now they are on to other married women, or their wives, I guess.
Or she kind of implied that maybe she banged them when they were married. They just had the ring off.
Oh, that's also true. So yeah, I mean, there is a thing too where Samantha's, and she makes this point earlier to Miranda. I think it's to Miranda. No, maybe to Charlotte. She's like, well, yeah, I mean, you've had sex with, or she says something about like the ring comes off.
Yeah, how do you know?
How do you know? You haven't had
Samantha
sex with a married man?
or Charlotte said, I would never have sex with a married man. She said, how do you know the ring comes off?
Ring comes off. So she's like talking about like, married men will still sleep with another woman or something like that.
I think that I get the art. Like they were going for, okay, there's like the married women that are like threatened. I feel like a lot of the married women that I know, that I'm friends with, are much more secure than the married women portrayed in the show.
Right.
So of course you have to go for stereotypes, and I understand that exists. The world they were showing seemed a little more like what I would imagine. I don't know. That's just not my friend group. Like Katie isn't like that. Your wife.
Oh, that's what you think.
Yeah. I
John,
know.
who is that? She's not even, she is Southern, but she doesn't have a Southern accent.
Well, you could ask her. She's sitting right here.
She won't say a word. We've asked her questions for her. She won't say a word. She doesn't want to interrupt. You guys,
I want to go back to the beginning and just, I think once again, this episode was fantastic, but once again, a borderline, not even borderline, horrible thing that they just made completely normal was the guy just standing there butt ass naked in front of Carrie. That I think nowadays that felt a little bit dated, that she would just laugh about that and bring it up with her friend.
Yeah, that's true.
Just clear sexual assault. That
is a to get topical where we are in this podcast. That's like a full on Weinstein right
exactly.
there.
Yeah, exactly.
That's like a walk out of your room and I'm here with a cup of coffee, Porky Pig and a woman, just like, hey, and how's it going? Good morning.
She didn't think it was a big deal. Her friends didn't think it was a big deal. They thought it was like funny because he had a big
pepper grinder,
but clearly sexual assault.
That is sexual assault.
Yeah. It doesn't age well, and I feel like even if that's not even being like watching it, I'm not like, listen, in light of these times, I'm more sensitive. That's true, but it's even like, that's crazy. This is funny. That was like played for like full on humor without like I don't know. And later he was smiling about it too. When they mentioned it, the wife was mad in the episode, and he was sitting there like, I do this to everyone who comes out to the Hamptons.
Right.
Like, but they didn't really, I don't know if they resolved that. I guess that's maybe the point is like, once you're married, you got to be a fucking weirdo and show your dick off to like still get your.
Unless I didn't even think about this, but do you guys think that his pants were off, but really what was in his crotch was a pepper grinder? Do you think he just had a pepper grinder like taped to his penis?
I actually, and like, she was upset because they had the pepper grinder in the kitchen. He was taken away from the kitchen and been bringing it places.
If that's the goof, it's still offensive, but more of a goof.
Yeah. Not nearly as offensive.
It's still, I would say it's still some sort of harassment.
I think it's not
Pretty
going to.
offensive.
I think that, like, I don't know, giving the
it's
benefit
harassment.
of the doubt to the show, it's them being like, it's them playing that for laughs and being like, that dude's a fucking, that is creepy. That is weird that he did that. But
And I also
this
think
is a comedy, and we're going to, like, maybe that's experience. People have experienced that without it being like, so anyways, this is a television show to show, like,
Well,
they're not lecturing it, but they're like, that dude clearly, the audience members are being like, is a creep.
I also think it's played not just for laughs as like, whoa, look at this guy's a wing wong, but also like when you get married, listen, we had this single person out to our Hamptons house because
we wanted to live vicariously through her sexy cab story.
And like now, like, oh man, I wish I wasn't married. I want to see if I could maybe, like have sex with her. My wife's getting the good muffins, So I think it's like kind of a thing where, it's played to where it's like, even though they're married, they're still wanting to get out there and like,
just as
bang other
controversial. Do you like when they mentioned muffins? I'm like, I feel like muffins are not popular anymore. I just feel like in general,
Muffins had their time in the
did have
sun.
their time.
Now,
I feel like they're a late 90s deal. Although I did hear someone talk about a muffin the other day.
Was it
cinnamon
Otis
bun muffin.
Spunkenmeyer?
It was Otis Spunkmeyer. He was like, I love a good hot cookie. And I love a good mini blueberry muffin. Did he make the mini blueberry muffins?
Just like
that was Hostess.
And he
Hostess.
did the big ones that you could get at
The
a la
huge
carte
ones.
in
I screwed
the
that up.
cafeteria at school, and it'd be like, oh, I'll get a muffin that's healthy, and it's like 780 calories.
That's true.
It's-
Your school had Otis Spunkmeyer muffins?
A la carte did.
What's a la carte?
A la carte means like you could go through.
I know what it means.
Yeah, well, we
I went
had
to college, and I've also been to Europe. I know what
But have
we
you been
had-
to
you know
Japan?
what language that's in?
It's
I
in
know.
fucking French.
There we go.
Yeah, we've
no, I
been
know
to
what you mean.
France together.
I'm just saying, no, my high school, we didn't have an a la carte muffin station.
We had a la carte line and we had cafeteria line, and I couldn't
Oh.
go through the a la carte line because my parents didn't make enough money, so we got discounted lunch.
Oh, I thought it was because
People
your
were like, why
parents
do you
were...
get regular lunch? I was like, I just prefer it. They're like, you prefer this shitty food to
Did you have
Otis Spunkenmeyer muffins?
Did you have square pizza?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah.
definitely did.
Or rectangle pizza.
All the cool kids go through the a la carte line.
I know. All of them
I mean,
did.
now that you bring it up that way, it does seem like a la carte line would be the cool thing where everyone would go get a chocolate muffin and eat half of it.
Maybe
Yeah.
Throw it away.
Corey, maybe there was an a la carte line at your school, but you were so out of touch with the cool crowd that you never even knew it was there.
At that time, I was like, you guys know this is French, right? Is it all French food?
I'd love to go to France one
I'm going to go to France one day and learn what this means.
All right, I will say this. If this show was written now, if it came out right now, they would have said scone.
No.
Croissant.
Not now. Not
What would they have said?
Bagel.
Probably would have said bagel.
Bagels were just as popular then.
Bagels have
Bagels-
gone
There's some good bagels
I
in
will
Hamptons.
say,
Rainbow
Goldberg's
bagel
and
trend
the-
has happened recently. Bagels are more popular than scones.
They would have said kale, and we all know it.
They would have.
Actually, kale's done. I think kale's over.
I think kale's over too.
What's the new? What is it now?
Back to iceberg. Back to iceberg.
It would have been a wedge. It would have been a wedge salad.
She brought home the good wedge.
She found the good wedge with
Becky with the good wedge.
did you
It was
know
a Beyonce song.
the good wedge, Juliana Margulies.
Oh my gosh. It's crazy. Her husband goes out and gets a wilty wedge and she stays with him.
And she's like, I'm the good wedge.
She's the good wedge.
Great wedge salad at Prime Meats in Carroll Gardens.
Prime Meats in
Actually,
Carroll Gardens.
Great
Listen,
wedge
if you guys want to be
salad.
a sponsor of the podcast, great wedge salad.
And
Fantastic.
you guys raised all your prices, and that's the only good deal there now. They have like a $40 burger. It
You know
sucks.
what? I will start another war. I will say to Kevin, stick to your guns that this is the best episode of the series. Make a decision. And also, I'm Prime Meats till I die. And Prime Meats, if you want to sponsor this podcast, I'll be your guy.
Prime Meat's favorite steak in the city? Favorite steak ever?
I've never eaten a steak there. Always
Oh.
go for the pork chop or
the
something
wedge.
more. Here's we can have this discussion another time. Not a big steak guy, and I think steaks are good, but there's always gonna be something more interesting on the menu. Always.
What if
And
you
if
go to
you're
a
gonna get a-
steak house?
You're
kind of cornered there.
Depends on what kind of steakhouse. Like Prime Meats wouldn't call it a steakhouse. Would
Oh,
call it
so
a great new restaurant.
if
If you go to Luger's,
Peter.
Luger's, Peter Luger's.
We're going to
Williamsburg.
Lugas.
But here, I don't really go to a lot of steakhouse.
Okay.
Sometimes I think steakhouse are kind of on the same par with like Cigar Aficionado magazine.
Of course, yeah.
But there's a lot of good steakhouse. Sorry, we have very far detracted from. We've gone to the boys part of the Bradshaw boys. Back to
There
the
was no
Bradshaws.
good names in this episode. There's no really names to latch on to.
I did want to know that one guy that was married that had just like the really like the Ken Burns type haircut.
With the glasses.
Yeah, I wanted to know his name.
Yeah, the cast that they were looking for a Stephen King type when they cast him. That guy's very.
They were like
Stephen
someone
King was
with
unavailable.
The Stephen King guys.
Well, you're busy writing a novel. Second choice. Come on in.
All right. Well, I hope the stand is good, but we'll get this guy.
All right, I have I have some questions. First of all,
Shoot.
do people fix up anymore? Because
Yeah.
they were like,
I've been
we
fixed
got
up a
fixed
couple
up.
times. You've been fixed up, haven't you?
Who'd I get fixed up by?
I'm asking you a question.
I wish I got fixed up. I would love to
Really?
be fixed. Yes,
You've
I'll
never
fix
been
you
on.
up.
You've never been on a fix-up blind date. First of all, why are we calling them fix-ups? What is
Because
it?
they said-
1930?
that's what they said.
They did say that.
They said, this
But
is a
there's
fix-up.
Something that's like it's a fix-up.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Doesn't happen
I'll
anymore.
fix you up. You
I'll
can
fix you
dance
up.
to Charleston, and
Yeah, I'll give you some shoestring black licorice.
Go to a sock hop. Take the lady out for a dance, and then fuck the bellboy when you get home.
Skip ahead in the
We'll
episode.
talk about that later.
I think people they do setups in the current day and age. It's a setup.
I think culturally, it's
tell
probably
Tinder that there's no more setups. Or
Yeah, I think that
that's
because
what I'm
of
saying.
Tinder,
More people you assume they're dating through apps,
aren't there?
and so
I mean,
there's not
I'm
more
so
like
out of the app game. I never had to use an app, so
you never did apps.
never. No.
Corey, you did a little.
I did apps. But I also like a main course. That's why I'm in a relationship. I had the apps, but
Isn't
I
that-
got set up with the main course.
Aren't there apps where you can like date your friends, and they connect you all through the Facebook
Hinge.
and
Hinge is that, right?
So that I feel like I'm probably right in that. If
There's
there was
not as many setups.
because
Sure.
it's like you have your own way to do it, and that might be okay.
Is that a New York thing, or rest of the? Do you think the rest of the country's not getting set up too?
I bet there maybe is more because it takes 5 minutes to swipe through everybody in certain towns.
That's-
Here you could swipe forever.
Yeah, I do think. I don't know. I wonder. I mean, I guess it doesn't happen as much in big friend groups where everyone knows each other for a long time. But I do feel like there's a thing where it's like, oh, you should come hang out with these people. You guys may be good together. Maybe that doesn't happen
At
anymore.
this point-
that happened to me like 2 or 3 years ago, which is when we were watching that episode. I was like, oh, I remember the last time I was set up before I had a girlfriend. And I was like, and it was super awkward. I didn't like it. That's how it always is.
I remember when I was like, you know what? I only want to go out with people that I'm friends with, because there's a certain point. It's like there's a certain amount of vetting that goes through.
Yeah.
That it's like cool. Like, I feel like you have a few experiences with people just like complete strangers, and you're like, this is kind of cool, and then it could be not so.
I think the Sex and the City world.
Mhm.
It's there's all these like circles of people that they're friends with and they're not friends with, and they're kind of all different. Our group of friends is we all know. Like I think you pretty much know everyone I know, and I mean, there's probably some circles that like I have that you don't
I
know,
feel
but
like
I don't think I want to set you up with like a Magic the Gathering player that I know.
Ooh, I want that to happen.
Is she cool?
I don't.
How many girls are at the Magic the Gathering?
We
Decent
should
amount.
preface this.
How
like,
many?
Decent amount.
You know people in the Magic the Gathering world.
Yeah,
which
of
is why we're
course.
saying that.
But
Yeah.
what I'm saying is like for the most part, 95% of the people that I know, Kevin also knows.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know how much. Maybe it wouldn't be as fruitful. I do feel like if people, I don't know. Now it's just it feels it's the same as it ever was. Talking Heads, New York City, same as it ever was. But also, I feel like it's sort of you watch that and you're sort of like, maybe that's the way to go. Obviously, she doesn't end up with a guy anyway.
Right.
But
I think
the guy
you're right.
the guy got set up twice and struck out both times. He got
Yeah,
set
he got
up
set
with
up
Carrie, and then Carrie set him up with Charlotte.
Yeah,
And,
struck out.
and like Charlotte didn't want to date him because they had different tastes in China. Like
I respect that though. She's out early. She's like, listen, I'm out. This isn't going to
Really?
work.
Yeah,
But she's French country.
she's French country.
I don't even know. See, I don't.
He's
I-
American
I
modern.
don't care
American
about any of
modern?
that
I don't
stuff. Like who really? That's a
Yeah.
deal breaker for some people.
I feel like it is definitely a deal breaker for Charlotte. I mean, it was, but I
and
feel
that
like
guy.
and that guy. But that guy, the interesting thing about a lot of Sex and the City stuff to me is that you get, especially, well, the women themselves, the Fab Four, but then also everyone else is archetypes.
Mhm.
So like that guy's the archetype of this, like you had the modelizer last episode.
Mm-hmm.
Now this guy's the I gotta get married guy,
Right.
and he's already picked out China pattern stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I live in an apartment in New York City, just like everybody
Brag.
else. Yeah, sorry guys, I live in an apartment. Hey, sorry, I don't have my own house. Okay, but I have an office. Real brag.
I do too.
In your
Mine's
apartment?
shared though.
Yeah,
I share my
yeah,
office.
You do have an office.
I have a
didn't think about that.
bedroom, and I share an office with my roommate.
That's true.
It's a small 3-bedroom, and there's 2 people in there.
The office itself is a small 3-bedroom. It's a gigantic apartment. But
Corey, you have your own office.
I do have my own office, which used to be a bedroom for a friend that lived in there. And then one day I walked in and everything was gone. And I was like, what am I going to do? So I started an office. But I only say that to say that I remember my mom was like, maybe this could be a baby's room one day. And I was like, oh, maybe it could, I guess. But what's interesting is that guy was the guy that was like the archetype of like,
Right.
here's an office, but one day it's a
It's gonna be
baby's
a
room.
baby's
And
room.
it's like a guy that, I don't know, do we know that guy? Does anyone know
Yeah.
that guy who's like I guess so. There's nothing wrong with that
I don't
guy.
know as many as I know people that don't. I feel like we're still at the age. I'm 32.
Are we doing our ages on this? We're only in
Should
what,
we?
episode 3?
We don't need to do our ages yet.
I'm a Highlander. I can't-
We're in our 30s to 40s.
I like the way that we set a rule, then Kevin finds a way to sneak underneath it.
That wasn't
You
it.
like climb under a fence.
Those 30s and 40s. We cover the gamut.
I love
I'm
it.
sorry.
John,
Did
John
I do
and
something
haven't
wrong?
said anything. We're just staring
Oh,
at you.
gosh.
Katie's even looking at
She's
you now.
pissed, man.
Katie's so
She's
angry
re-
that you just outed her
Katie's
age.
not in the
She might
fucking
actually
room.
say anything.
Listen,
My-
okay, let me say this. I think we know more people that want to be single than want to be married and have kids. I didn't mean to give up anyone's ages. I
Right.
am 32. And it was my birthday last week.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
Do you know my most unbelievable archetype that I experienced in that show was the gay couple that like she hadn't seen since he came out of the closet, that
Right.
he approached her for getting one of her eggs.
And
Yeah.
she didn't take it as a compliment.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
usually I this has never happened to me. I've never asked a woman for her eggs or been a woman who's been asked. But if someone would approach you and ask you for something like that, you would think that they would be honored. But because they would have that sort of relationship, they would have rapport, and it's basically, I think that would be a really nice thing. And she wasn't feeling it. Neither was Stanley.
Stanford Blatch.
What do you guys think?
What do we think, that was unbelievable or that was offensive?
Yeah.
I think I do agree. I think it was.
I mean, am I just really out of touch? Like is
No, I
every
think it's-
woman offended when they get asked? Or I think usually that question would only come from a level of intimacy that you have with that person.
Well, she used to fuck the guy, right?
Oh, is that what they're implying?
was
She,
that a guy she used to date?
I think she ran into it. That's what I took. That was like, oh, we were together. Now he's
Oh, I
gay.
didn't-
Well, they're in the city,
And it's like-
if they're in the
there's
city, that
sex
they had to have
happening.
sex. Got it.
But it's also there was sex, and where are they? And they're in the city.
They're in the city. Yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
sure.
During that scene, were they in the city?
They were in the city.
They
Yeah.
were. Yeah, we just
They
got to
were.
confirm.
Kate-
So I think that was the point, though, that she's like, I can't even have my own kids. I'm just being hit up as the single woman by even my past
Got
boyfriends
it.
with their. I
I
think
think I didn't get that, but that makes a little bit more sense.
yeah.
I didn't get that. I didn't get that she was like, I can't have my own kids. I thought that she was like, I don't know if I want to get married or not. And now this guy's just saying, hey, we'd love to like use you as an egg farm. Wouldn't you be so honored? We'll pay you. And I
Yeah,
think
because
that was kind of
she
a thing
did
that's like
mention
this
that she
happens
was-
to women.
She was getting like it was single bashing.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was that guy assuming like, oh, of course you're not married. We can borrow your eggs.
Exactly.
Mm.
Yeah. I also
I'd be a little
didn't.
salty about that, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's
Good writing.
I don't
Good
know.
job,
That's
Darren.
that's
Good job,
definitely
Darren Star.
looking at the world glass half empty. But go for it, Carrie. I mean,
Wait, why do you say glass half empty?
because it's like, oh, they want my eggs. It's like, no, this awesome gay couple is just being like, yes, I want half of you as my family. That's a huge compliment.
Actually, like more like a third to a quarter, because they already have a surrogate. They said they had a surrogate. They need an egg. They're going to use one of their sperms. That's not half of you. That's only at least a third.
Okay, I'm just realizing this. so they can take another female's egg
Yes.
and a sperm and then
Yes.
grow it in a completely other body.
Correct.
And then they sell it on the a la carte line. Think about that. Just a rich kid in high school goes and grabs that baby.
See,
That's
see,
theirs. It's
I
theirs to
didn't
keep.
grow up wealthy, so my parents were like, "You're gonna have your own kids."
You
okay?
need to find a woman, no surrogates, just you and a lady.
Listen, you and a lady, you split it 50-50.
Remember around the same time that Sex and the City was coming out in 1999 or whatever was when everyone found out that Melissa Etheridge
Was gay?
was gay, but everyone was like, "Oh, who's your surrogate?" And then everyone's like, "David Crosby? What the fuck?" Do you remember that?
I don't know who those people are.
Isn't that what the song "Come to My Window" is about? It's about David Crosby coming to her window to give him his sperm.
And jerk off into a cup for me.
That was on
Come in,
Oh.
come in
Oh.
my window
Oh, yeah.
into my girlfriend.
that was the
But the
original
whole thing was
lyrics.
because he was like a drug addict for a while. He was like the fourth best person in Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young.
Was she honored though when he came to her?
No, they asked him because she's like, it's someone who's great,
They-
who's
got
musically talented. And then it
I'm
was like,
confused as the whole situation.
all
I don't know who
whatever.
these people
It's
are.
the only
but-
other surrogate anyone knows about. Name one other one.
One other surrogate?
Yeah,
In Arrested Development, he was a surrogate lawyer.
fictional.
I know people like in personal life have used surrogates.
Name them. No, I'm kidding.
I
And
won't.
their age.
I won't name them or their ages. I won't do either. Yeah,
Now.
I thought. When they got to the party, I thought that it was going to be a swingers party. Because they were like, and they all looked at us. And then that Stephen King's wife was way younger than him. Like that casting was totally like the Tool Time Home Improvement casting, where it's like, I guess Tool Time Home Improvement, the casting wasn't way off, but like it's more King of Queens casting.
Oh, that was Seinfeld.
Speaking
would think
of
so,
old
too.
comedy shows, I said this while we were watching it, but the whole fresh pepper joke they had 3 years after the SNL fresh pepper sketch, they had a whole thing where he's like, "Oh, this guy's got fresh ground pepper penis," and they're like, "You want some fresh ground pepper?" That SNL sketch was in SNL season 20, the Adam Sandler Dana Carvey fresh pepper sketch. Do you know what we're talking about?
I no, but I mean, I remember the scine from Sex and the City, but
That
I'm
we just-
very
Yeah.
the one that we talked about like 10 minutes ago.
Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
remember.
yeah.
But I'm very impressed that you knew when that it was episode 20 of Saturday Night Live
Well, I
or
looked,
season 20.
I looked that up on my phone.
Oh, okay.
But I did know. But the reason that I like mentally flagged that was that I was like, oh, I know that Dana Carvey was in that sketch. That was in the 90s. This is in the 90s. And it turned out it was like 3 years before. Could just be they're both phallic objects. But, phallic objects being like fresh pepper, ground in penis
I think
stuff,
it's time to
that's-
bring that skit back.
I think it is
I
too.
mean,
I think
it
it's
has a
time
lot
to
of
bring Dana
success.
Carvey, Adam Sandler, and the 4 women, and they do it for Funny or Die.
That would be fantastic.
And then at the end, it cuts the director.
And it's Stephen King.
It's Stephen King with his pants off, Porky Piggin, saying, "Did you get the good muffins?" And scene. What do you guys think?
That would be.
And then they all tell their ages.
I don't get why. I don't get why we're
How's that go?
giving this out to Funny or Die. We're
It's
making
gold.
it. We'll get the team together.
I think that would be. I think
It's a
that'd be
pretty,
smart. We'll have it catered by
pretty
Prime Meats.
expensive cast. By who?
Prime Meats, the best
Prime Meats.
wedges, the best wedges.
We haven't talked about Miranda yet. Let's dabble in
that's
the,
a huge-
Miranda line there.
huge beast story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can we just cover one thing real quick?
Sure.
Mhm.
Which is
You want to talk about rips some more?
what is what makes a good party? Because when they walked in and the party was lame, because it wasn't a swingers party.
It was just a lame party.
Because
There was
I bet
no-
if you asked the married couples, they didn't think that.
No one was playing
'Cause everyone was
no one was
partnered
playing
up.
Party Up by DMX.
if I go to a party
'Cause
with
what?
my wife,
No one was playing Party Up by DMX. It's a great song. It's like you've said it before. So old it's new.
if I go to a party with my wife
It's
and
a
it's just a
classic.
bunch of other married people and it's just Katie and I sitting there talking to each other, that would be a really awful party.
Katie, what do you think? She won't say anything. You've told her
Quiet
this
as
is
a
my
mouse.
podcast.
No,
Quiet as a mouse.
there's no
Yeah.
there's nothing,
There wasn't
nothing
like
going
zhuzh.
on.
I think they were
Zhuzh?
saying zhuzh,
What's that?
good party mixture.
The only other time I've heard zhuzh is when like a I heard someone talking about their hair, and they're like, "Zhuzh your hair up a little bit."
It's like a little like
It's like a little.
it's like an
It's like a Long Island mom thing.
It's
I think.
it's an automatopoeia for something extra nice.
Wait,
there's
there is a word. Wait, what is? There's a word for like something extra. It's
zhuzh.
There's zhuzh. Oh
How do
no,
you
it's
spell zhuzh?
Langnep. Langnep. It's the Cajun word that's like a langnep. It's like it's something extra. It's like there's like a Cajun thing.
If we
Langnep.
try and if you just take a deep breath, clear your mind, and then say it one more time, that party needed extra zhuzh. You know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
The thing is, okay, it's not. It just clearly was a lame party
Wait,
because
that
everyone
party
was
needed
awful
an extra judge.
and it needed to be Judge Reinhold.
I wish he was there.
They didn't want any zhuzh at that party because Samantha was bringing the zhuzh, and she
always brings
was
the zhuzh.
clearly like an outcast at that party.
I guess a dinner. I feel like dinner parties are more married vibe. That was like who has married parties where everyone's standing around?
In couples.
Yeah. All right.
Archetype of a party. But no, you're right. It was a
was an
weird
awful
feeling
party.
party. Awful party. You get there. Wait, we started talking about the party. You were saying like
I was gonna say yeah, it doesn't matter. What makes a good party? No,
Zhuzh.
no, what does make a good party? Are you do you have anything in mind?
Could they have gotten in the zone? Because it was clearly there. Samantha is like, they're like, we're here to party.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like,
The single girls they got their dresses on.
could they
they're
have
looking
done anything
nice.
to make it to just enjoy themselves? Or is that really, when it comes down to it,
I'll tell you
what makes a good party is the potential for you to meet a mate. And if that's not there, then it's like, you got to shift it over to like, we got to find good people to spend this holiday with or this party with.
You know what the dark horse of every good party is?
What?
Pickles. Pickles crush at parties. I'm not kidding. Next time you go to a party that has food, find the pickles. They'll be completely gone.
You know, in another language, what pickles are referred to as
What?
zhuzh.
Shush. This is all coming together. I didn't believe it, and then I took stock of pickles at parties. They fly off the
Can
shelf.
you imagine if the episode was Samantha
I'm
going
telling
in
you,
just
man.
being like, I want to fuck someone, and they're like, well, everyone's here is married, but they got pickles. She's like, oh shit, they got pickles. Damn.
Oh shoot! I'm gonna judge those pickles.
Oh.
All right, Miranda.
So Miranda, John, explain her whole deal for this episode.
Let's see here. I got some notes. Miranda was the one who was very, very adamant that the moment you become married, that as a single person, you become an enemy. She thinks, single is not to be trusted. And she shows up to a softball game for her law firm. She's got to make an appearance to meet with the senior partners, and she gets set up by, you guys said you knew the guy.
Oh, H. John Benjamin.
He's Archer.
He's the voice of Archer.
So
he's
Archer,
in Bob's Burgers. Comedian.
Archer sets her up with who he thinks is her type, and that's another woman. She has to tell him that she is not a lesbian. But one of the senior managers of the partner, after making a good play, sees Miranda with this other woman, and Charles becomes Chip, and Chip invites Miranda to a dinner party.
Isn't that's so insane that they, as a character, would write an episode where Miranda is a lesbian? That's so weird. Isn't Cynthia Nixon a lesbian?
Cynthia Nixon is a lesbian.
Was she out at that point?
I don't know if she was.
That's funny because if
I feel like if she wasn't out, she was like maybe out to like
her friends and stuff.
Her friends and like people,
or everyone knows, like they assume she.
They're like, oh yeah, Cynthia's gay.
Yeah,
maybe she was out to H. John Benjamin, and he was the one who kind of ushered her into.
He was like,
he improvised that
let
scene.
Me improvise the scene. I'm a comedian. I've done improv.
H. John, I'm supposed to play catcher. Hold on, let me bring you over here and introduce you to someone.
Let's do this. I'm going to talk to the other people.
We should see. Has she written a book? Does she thank him somewhere in that book?
I don't know. We should check that out.
So I was a little confused by that too, because I thought that Chip invited her to the dinner party because she made a really good softball play, and
she did.
She did. It was a great softball play. They had the double play at home plate
to win the game, right?
To win the game, but it was really because we later find out that Chip's wife wanted a lesbian couple in their circle.
On their roster. Did
Did
you say on
she
their
say
roster?
roster?
I don't know if she did.
They are some progressive. The voiceover had a thing that was like, on the right is a
Right-wing
lesbian couple at a
Republicans.
far right Republican dinner party. So some pretty progressive far
You
right
can't be
Republicans.
too far right if you're living in New York City. Like, I think you can call yourself
Hey.
far.
I don't know.
Donald J.
Trump.
Donald J. Trump lived in New York City.
He was a Democrat until like
I
a few
stand
years ago.
corrected.
He's yeah. No, I think Upper East Side is the place though that it's that and Staten Island are the only places that vote primarily Republican in New York City. So I bet there's some rich people that have some pretty fucked up thoughts.
Yeah, probably.
But they were happy to they were trying to open up and be like, listen,
It's weird for me.
it's just it's just weird for me. So
But then she goes to the dinner. Oh, she ends up obliging and taking her not real girlfriend. They go to the dinner party.
Yeah.
they have a nice time. They have like an actual like friendship connection. Then Miranda tries to just goes for it and is like, this was awesome.
Also
It was
sexual
great being-
assault.
By kissing her in the elevator.
Hey, man, she didn't look like she wanted it.
That's true.
Especially if Miranda
That's
knows
true.
that she's straight, coming in like that, that's a little presumptuous.
I mean, I guess there could be a thing. I'm not trying to advocate for sexual assault, but there could be a thing where Miranda was like, maybe I am, and then just makes a move and it's like, I'm not. But you're right. It seemed very exploratory.
That's like very Michael. That's a Michael Scott move right there. Like that's just like a little bit uncomfortable.
It was very to just make a move on someone in a closed elevator is
Because you're
not the most
like
welcome
having
thing.
a little bit of doubt about your sexuality. It doesn't
It was
really
a
give you
selfish
license
move.
to.
That is for sure.
That is for sure. Is definitely
And
a selfish
I would
move.
say
And not a
that-
cool move.
What she should have done is said, I want to see if I am a lesbian. 3, 2,
Two.
1.
Giving her a count. It makes Miranda the if I had to rank all of the Fab Four, it puts her at the bottom of my ranking for this episode.
You know who? You know what I was like at first I thought it was just like a fun because I put when the doorman because Samantha gets super drunk at the married party. Charlotte takes her home, and then they walk past the doorman. She flirts with him, and then they go to bed. I thought that was going to be the end of the episode, and I was like, dude, I was like, can you imagine if you were a doorman and like the stories that you have?
Oh yeah.
And then a few minutes later, Samantha goes downstairs, gets a smoke from the doorman, and then is just in her underwear. The doorman bangs her, which is like clearly a weird little fantasy that's like, oh my gosh. But what I thought was interesting about the story more than just like, oh, that'd be what if you were a doorman and like that happened, that'd be an incredible little story you have, is that she didn't even call, and he was just like, he's like, I'm lonely because I'm from Ireland and I haven't talked to anyone. And then he's just like, your friend never called me. And it was like one of those things that you think is going to be amazing. And then really it's just like a guy that's like, oh, that it's not just a story to him. He was kind of like a real character that they had like a little twist.
But Samantha's
I
a
thought that was
dirty
cool.
dog.
Dirty dog.
She didn't call him.
I know.
One thing I thought that was, well, hold on. Are we done talking about the party and what else is there with Samantha? I still feel like that I don't know, man. I feel like I'm always team Samantha. She's like
She's just the best.
she is the best. And she just kind of
If
like,
those roles were reversed and it was a door woman and some guy was just like whipped his dick out down there
Samantha
and then went up
didn't
and
whip
she
out any
didn't really-
genitals. She showed her underwear, which the guy at the beginning of the episode showed his pepper grinder. Samantha was just
so
like,
if he would have had underwear on, if that role was reversed, that is a fucked up thing to do.
is it? I don't know.
That's.
I don't know if it is. I'm
trying
not-
to remember the.
She went downstairs and said, do you have an extra smoke? She opened her robe
To
and she
show
was wearing lingerie.
lingerie.
She was wearing her bra and underwear. And he said, hold on. Close the thing. Like, close your robe. And they went back upstairs and they slept together while he was on the clock. And then Charlotte wakes up.
Good hours work right there.
I mean, yeah. Good, yeah.
It's a decent.
Making a lot of use of those coffee breaks.
He did hold the door open for Charlotte when she had to go to the bathroom.
I will say
That
he
was
got
great.
back on the job from within
What
her
did he say
apartment.
too? He's like, let me get
this, ma'am.
That's
Let
great.
me get this, ma'am. And then she said, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. When I come back, you're not gonna be here.
Yeah.
And then he went back downstairs and went to. I don't know. Is it messed up?
It's messed up.
I think if
I
that
think
was
it's.
your
I think
friend,
it's. I think you're doing a bad job.
if that was your friend who was a girl who's like the door woman and said like that happened, and I think the difference is like emotionally, maybe it was interesting. Like he was like, oh, maybe we have a real connection. Silly thing to think, maybe. But if that were a girl and was like, this guy and this, I think you'd be like, hey, that guy's never going to talk to you again. And you'd assume it. But it's a shitty thing to do as a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it would be representative as a shitty thing to do. Like, that's a playboy who's, of course, never going to call you. He doesn't give a shit about you. And I guess you just saw it from the guy's perspective, being like, oh, it's like a poor, like, lonely immigrant who's just a doorman who, like, wants to. I mean, he is.
Yeah.
He was. And one thing, okay, so I think on a person-to-person emotional level, not a great thing to do to someone.
Would you do that to your door lady?
Do you have an office and a door lady?
I do have an office, and I have a door lady when I walk in the front door, and when I go to my office, there's a woman that works at the door to the office inside the apartment, and one that works at the front door downstairs. And I pay both of them. No, I don't. No one answers my door. I unlock my own door.
So I
wouldn't do that. One thing I want to say real quick about the Irish guy is that Carrie ends the episode talking about married couples and single people, and she says it's kind of like the war in Northern Ireland.
Right.
Yeah.
And then she just makes light of it and goes to the movie with her friends, and I was like, we've just this guy from Northern Ireland was just, I guess we could say he was sort of stripped of his dignity, and it's just like, it's like the war in Northern Ireland, where people are getting killed and bombed. I wish they would have just ended the episode by playing Zombie by the Cranberries.
Sunday, like, Bloody Sunday. Zombie about
Zombies, with their bombs and their guns and their bombs and their guns. John,
in your head.
I think I have. I'm
Great
I'm not a big music guy.
Sure.
So the music references kind of go over my head a little bit.
But Sunday Bloody Sunday could be another one.
Yeah, I do know that song.
Good song.
I do think it was like maybe it was at a bigger height there. I just think it was like there's a lot of other metaphors that could have worked. That was pretty heavy to just like bring in real quick.
The war in Northern Ireland.
It's like, oh yeah, I guess it is sort of like that.
Huh. I guess it is like an IED.
Thanks for the movie ticket, Samantha. Let's go around real quick and let's rate the episode. What a rating scale do we want to give it? 1 to 5 Cosmos?
No, from a different type of candy.
Different type. Oh, okay.
Well, we got to establish what's the top candy and what's the bottom. We got to rate on
the top is Rips.
Is the top?
The bottom is the little fucking sugar nubbles.
I don't know if ice cream Snickers is the king of all candies. First of all,
okay.
Do you consider it a candy or a dessert?
See, there we go. That's a whole other debate.
It is king.
That's a debate.
We don't have to do that, but
let's do 1 to 10.
1 to 10.
1 to 10. And also, I want to throw this out because one of you brought it up earlier. Rate your top Fab 4 person for this episode.
Got it. Yeah, I like that.
Like which of the gals
which
was
of the
your
gals?
top? Cool.
It'll be so interesting to go through this, and I right now, after only seeing 3 episodes, I'm gonna have a hard time not rating Samantha at the top every single time, and I would love to keep a tally of who they are and see if that's an accurate assessment.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. I'll give the episode. Let's see. I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Good episode. I liked it. Good talking points, and I got to go with Samantha. She was my top gal for sure.
Oh, Kevin and I made the same. I will give it. I'm going to give it. I think I'm going to give it a 6.5, and I'm not only doing this to just be different than you. I think this is a really solid episode. It had very solid B story. The Miranda B story I thought was really good. I think that, and maybe we'll see this throughout the rest of the series, some of the archetypes were like a little too heavy for me, but that happens a lot in it. But I thought it was a solid episode, better than episode 2, I think. And Samantha's my tops. I just, even with the thing that we were saying where she is a dirty dog, but like, I feel like Samantha is as great or as tragic as she is. Like and the reason I say tragic is like, you're like, she does something bad. She just knows herself, man. She just owns who Samantha is.
That's true.
Modern woman.
You said 7? You said 6.5, Corey. I would
You're
say
gonna say 6.75.
I would say
different.
no. I would say 7.5
Oh.
because I definitely liked it way better than the last one. The last one just seemed dated to me, and this one actually seemed like questions that could continue, and they asked a lot of interesting questions that I feel like we're still dealing with. They dealt with them in an interesting way that I feel like is relatable. And I would say my favorite in this would be, I think, Carrie, actually. I think Carrie, because I think she tried it with that dude, and then she was like, I'm out of here. And she was on a different page. And I don't know. I thought her story seemed like pretty realistic. Also, I just feel bad for that doorman, man. Just like missing Ireland and thought he found a good lady.
I get that.
But he did have a nice, definitely grounds for firing. That's for sure. He lost his job after that.
I think that's to me, that's like a welcome to New York, man. It's just like, hey, listen, you miss home. Don't get sucked up in it. You know, he should have just been like, yeah, you can have a cigarette if you give me $1. And then it's like, hey, that's the rules of New York bumming cigarettes, man. You got to give someone $1.
Give him a buck.
Can you imagine if he, back in Ireland, how hard that story crushes? He's like, so then she comes down, she bums a cig off me.
Yeah.
Opens up her robe.
No
She's in her
fucking way.
fucking undies.
She's standing in the cold in her undies.
No,
She just
Mom, in her apartment, I said, I'll get the door for you. And I got the door for her. And then I left.
So she looks at me. She just says, you got to be out of here. And I said, I'll get the door for you.
And you know what? It really was like the war we've had here. Exactly like that.
It actually reminded me.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in.
We'll see you next week with episode 4
On the Bradshaw Boys.
The Bradshaw Boys stars Cory Cavin, Jon Sieber, and Kevin James Doyle. The show is produced by Jeremy L. Balon. For more information on the guys, check out their website at bradshawboys.com, on social media at The Bradshaw Boys, and if you see them in the street, tip your glass. Thanks for listening.